There's no doubt that affordable housing and housing security are crucial issues for the next city council members to address. New Yorkers deserve more than a presentation of false choices between creating affordable housing and maintaining our historic neighborhoods. I believe that the NYPD must be restructured, that the New York City budget is the blueprint and accountability mechanism for its restructuring, and a shift in consciousness around the idea of safety needs to happen. Any agenda for recovery at the federal, state, or local level is really going to depend on our efforts to reduce the impact of mass incarceration. The economy wasn't working well for Black and brown people before the lockdown, and it's no secret that people of color who have been convicted of a crime are the most affected. Restaurant closures have not only impacted thousands of our working force, but also pedestrian traffic that keep our local small businesses functioning. I think we can all agree that education is critical for social and economic equity and community safety.
My top priority is going to be a recovery from the COVID-19 crisis, bringing our economy back. After this past year, we need a recovery that'll work for our arts industry, our small businesses, entrepreneurs, and union members. Our city, we've got to prime our city to recover, and that means having clean and safe streets, a 24-hour subway, great schools. Another major priority of mine is going to be creating affordable housing in Council District 3. You shouldn't need to make 6 figures to live in Council District 3. I know how to do it, and I'm going to work with our local communities and stakeholders to preserve and create thousands of units of affordable housing right here in our district. The homelessness crisis is a true shame. In the richest city, in the richest country in the world, we have 80,000 people sleeping in shelters and transitional housing every night. It's not acceptable. We know what we have to do: creating supportive housing, affordable housing, services, mental health services. We know what we have to do. We need the will and the resources to do it, and that's what I'm going to fight for in the City Council.
So what I'm concentrating on right now are 3 things. The first is by far COVID recovery. We are looking at over a $5 billion deficit in next year's budget. So working within that framework, we have to get our small businesses, our restaurant hospitality industry, and our arts back and running. This is a priority because those industries are so inextricably tied really to our district and really determine our economic prospects. And our COVID recovery also includes our public schools and getting a safe, comprehensive plan back next September. Number 2, homeless and affordable housing. We cannot keep creating these islands of poverty. We have to commit to balanced income housing across all AMI bands because this is what keeps neighborhoods vibrant. And we also have to commit to a thoughtful, systematic approach to supporting our unhoused. And number 3, environmental justice in our neighborhoods, specifically our low-income communities, which have really borne the brunt of dirty air, dirty water, and hazards such as lead paint. All new builds, either by private developers or the new public housing plan coming soon, must have strong environmental benchmarks.
So I think the number one priority in this part of town, and we realize it goes from Canal Street up to Columbus Circle, roughly, west of Fifth Avenue, just for image's sake. I think the priority that exists in this area is to create affordable housing. So that's my first priority. My second priority is to deal with healthcare and the hospital and healthcare crisis that we have in New York. I want to see New York adopt the New York Health Act. I want to stop all hospital combinations and closures. The third area that I want to address is the police department. The fact that we put almost 10% of our budget in the city into the police department when it isn't needed, and this is not an anti-cop thing, because I talk about reimagining the police department, moving non-law enforcement functions from the police department, particularly around mental health. And my fourth priority is mass transit. The city putting $1 billion a year into the New York City Transit Authority, buses and subways, to make buses free and subways lower fared is my fourth priority.
My priorities are the people, serving the people of District 3, getting us through this unprecedented time where so many of us are facing the same crises. Our children are being neglected. Our small businesses are being neglected. People are losing their homes. And without the leadership that I have developed over the years, supporting people in this district, I'm afraid of where we will end up in the next 2 years. This is an emergency, and we need someone like me who has the passion and the determination to fight for all of the things that we all need without fear. I don't care who gets upset at me at the top. I'm here to fight for you and for me and for my kids and my family.
We need to prioritize a social safety net over gentrification so people are not displaced. I believe that we are in an unprecedented time where we can solve the homelessness crisis by repurposing empty buildings in the district with supportive services for our homeless. I also believe we need substantial rent relief to cancel the rent for tenants and small businesses hit hard by the pandemic, with rent vouchers that could reset market rents. This would not only stop New Yorkers from being evicted, it would save small businesses and nearly 520,000 jobs, so people would have a job to come back to. In addition, I want to demilitarize and defund the $11 billion NYPD and refund that money to the communities who need it. And I want the community, not big real estate, to control and have the final say in development at the community board and resident level. We need a council member who believes in putting people first, with specific policy choices that create and preserve affordable housing, good paying jobs, a neighborhood with thriving businesses, and a more equitable education system.